3 years after Harvey disappeared. The old house was bought out by developers for a fortune. I was still holding the check, already imagining a clean break and a fresh start, when the front door suddenly swung open. He walked in like he had never left. At his side was a young woman in a nurse's uniform, her belly swollen, one hand resting possessive lie on it. She smiled at me and called me sister in a voice sweet enough to make my teeth ache. Harvey adjusted his gold-framed glasses and spoke, as if he were passing judgment from a throne. Nicole, since you can't give birth, you should know your place. He gestured at the woman beside him. Give the compensation money to Lola. It's for the child. When the baby is born, you can be the godmother. He paused, then added coldly, you'll also stay home and take care of her after delivery. Consider it repayment for everything I've done for you. I quietly slipped the keys of my brand new BMW back in my pocket and stared at him like he'd lost his mind. Harvey, did you leave your common sense wherever you disappeared to? I said calmly. This house belonged to me before marriage. The buyout money has nothing to do with you. I smiled thinly. And for information, you were declared dead 3 years ago. I even disposed of your ashes. Legally speaking, you don't exist. I was still holding the insulated lunchbox I had prepared for Pierce, the warmth seeping into my palms. Meanwhile, Harvey had already settled himself onto my imported leather sofa, crossing his legs as if it were his rightful seat. He ran a hand over the armrest with open disdain. This color is awful. Too flashy, he complained. Once the money comes in, replace all of this. Lola prefers French countryside decor. Lola covered her nose and pretended to gag. Harvey, the air here feels wrong. My chest feels tight. What if it affects our precious baby? Harvey immediately wrapped an arm around her, then shot me a furious look. Did you hear that? Open all the windows. If something happens to my son, could you afford the consequences? I laughed softly and slammed the thermos onto the table. Afford it? I scoffed. You think you're worth that much? I went into the bedroom, pulled out a folder, and tossed it straight at his face. Read carefully. This is the paperwork from canceling your death certificate. 3 years ago, you ran off because of gambling debts. People were hunting you down. As your legal wife at the time, I cleaned up the disaster you left behind. Harvey picked up the papers, his face darkening by the second. He ripped them to shreds, paper fluttering everywhere. Nicole, you poisonous woman, he shouted, cursing me while I was still alive. I was only hiding for a few years, he continued, voice rising. I did it for this family. He jabbed a finger toward me. And you while I was gone, did you find yourself another man? His expression grew more self-righteous with every word. Who's this Pierce? The guard downstairs mentioned him. Your little lover? He sneered. So you've been wasting my money on another man. Now that I'm back, I'm in charge. Hand over the bank card with the buyout funds immediately. That money will help me restart my life. Refuse, and I'll leave you with nothing. Lola chimed in, her tone dripping with mock sympathy. Sister, don't be so stubborn. A man is a woman's guide, no matter what he does. Once he comes home, you should welcome him properly. She glanced at my stomach with a smirk, especially now that Harvey has a child. A woman who can't bear children should know how grateful she ought to be. Watching them perform together made my stomach churn, and yet I almost felt amused. 3 years ago, Harvey had sold off everything we owned to feed his gambling addiction. When the debt collectors came, he disappeared overnight. They splashed paint on my door. They threatened me daily. I sold my jewelry and worked endlessly to pay off what he owed. I cared for his bedridden father until the old man passed away. Harvey never called once. Now that he heard about the compensation money, he finally crawled back. I picked up the cup of hot tea from the table. You're right, I said lightly. I should welcome you. Harvey's face lit up, convinced he had won. That's more like it. As long as you behave. The next second, I poured the tea straight onto his face.